But with that, one thing we were able to do is provide a training session. So once IT completed it, we were able to walk through it. We invited our applicants from previous years to come out and walk through with us how this next application is going to go, and provided them with all the details and really the understanding of this one has a limit, you have to answer these, and had great feedback after that meeting as well. You know, an understanding and the ability to just fill it out and know that you did it correctly. Yeah, so we'll just do a quick demonstration of what it looks like.
So, and this is the same walkthrough that we did during the information session that we had with the applicants. So you go to the webpage, recreation, you go to ramp, and you click ramp. One of the requests that we got was that it was the application. They can come back to it and then submit their application. So this is a sample of the application, and then they go here for the application. Read a little bit about it, make sure that they understand what it does fund, and so they know what category they need to be applying for. And then go through the flow chart, making sure that they fit this, each designation, and then which tier they want to do. Is this a major project application based on this? If it's not, does it go with tier 1 or tier 2? And then they go through and they click, and it brings them to the application. So they fill out the project name, the priority. There's a lot of the same questions as previous, just in an easier format. So they don't have to save to a PDF, email somebody. You just fill it out through here. A lot more yes or no questions to allow for less interpretation. That was something else too. People weren't entirely sure what we were asking, and how much information they needed to give. So where it was a yes or no, we just moved it to a yes or no question. Select which one they're applying for, what type of project this is, program, equipment, or facility, city or property. They work with that. And then they fill out the supply application, how much they're requesting, if they have matching funds, total cost of the project, which entities they are. And then the other questions that we've added on are all based on the ordinance and what is required for eligibility within our department. Summary of the project, that stays the same because we also understand that this is a little bit of the flair fun piece for organizations to showcase a little bit more. Like it's not just yes or no, this is the project. This is a little bit of a why, so you can learn a little bit. And we know that that's important to organizations to share a little bit of that funniness. Participation, if people are being charged, if it's fundraising. Making sure that it's not operating expenses that it's covering, and people benefit from the project. There's performances, if they're within code boundaries or outside. We want to make sure Layton residents that are being able to benefit from this, and then how the ramp logo will be displayed, because the ramp will be a sponsor for the program or project. One of the other really big feedback that we received was a little looking for more guidance and direction. categories there. You can add lines. And this also helps streamline the completion report at the end, because they'll use this exact same form when filling out the completion report. So at the time of the application, they fill out this Layton column. If there's consultation fees, marketing and advertising, performance, expenses, rentals, supplies, wages, volunteers, stipends, contracts working, contingency for the projects. You fill that out, and you can submit it. And then we do ask for supplemental information being attached, showing proof of nonprofit status, the organization structure, mission statement, and self-financial statements. So things that are listed, outlining the eligibility. When they attach it, they only have to submit that once. So if an organization submits, they only need to submit the supplemental information. And then once they complete, they will submit application. And anything that you did not fill out, it will tell you exactly what's missing. So it's not like, what box did I not do? So it helps a little bit with that clarity. And then they do receive an email saying that their application was successfully received. And then if they did apply within the draft period, they have the ability to, once they receive feedback, if they choose to fix any of the feedback that they receive, they're able to edit their application instead of having to resubmit a brand new one. They can edit it.
Yeah. And I will say, with this budget form, so we implemented it at the end of the last cycle. And so we made everyone who'd already submitted a budget, which they were doing in every which way, put it all into this, and then for their completion report, we were able to compare that way. So it's already been in use, and we've had some improvement on that and feedback, and it's working really, really well.
Looks like it should. I
It's-
mean, you're covering, I looked at it as if I could fill it out, and I thought I could do that. And so to me, that says, that could be very successful.
And that was the intention. We wanted to make sure it continued to be, have an ease of use, easy for all different size organizations to apply for it. So that's
Can we
the
ask a
goal.
question, Dave? I mean, on wages? What wages apply?
So some organizations use matching funds for their employee wages as matching funds, so they'll list it under the matching category.
Okay.
And we do find a couple of intern positions for the Layton Heritage, the Heritage Museum of Layton.
So we do, I was under the impression we never paid for any wages, but that's,
These guys can answer too, but we do not pay for any organizational expenses or wages. And so if, like myself, that would be completely inappropriate.
okay.
Charge my wages to it.
That makes sense.
But if we do have someone who is solely hired from out of house,
To do that.
solely for this program, we will consider those wages.
Okay, that answers that question.
And it's rare. Usually it's only for a Layton City program like that
Yeah.
we've ever seen it. But for the matching funds, and just to clarify, anybody can provide whatever they feel like would match, but they don't have to. But it helps us and when we rack and stack and understand what they're putting into the program. If we have to limit our grants, that will come into play. So we highly encourage them to, if they have employees working on this and donating time, or even if it's company time,
Yeah.
to list it.
Well done.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
Did you have feedback from, I know there was probably a lot of feedback last year when they got this budget form after some had already submitted. Did you get feedback when it was time for the reconciliation process from those same groups or individuals? To
So-
know, like, was it worthwhile, was it easier, did they understand the purpose of it?
When we did the workshop, because we did this as a walkthrough and then put on like an online saved training that they could all go to. when we did that immediately as everybody was going through that, they were like, thank you, this is what we need. This is what we've been needing, because we don't know exactly how you want it laid out. And so I don't know, now that you're getting more and more completion reports, how has that been the same?
I haven't heard any, can we make adjustments, or I'm struggling with anything, so it's been really good.
But that workshop went super well, and it was just, wait, so I can just add a line and put in every detail? How much detail do you want? And it's like, well, make sure it's in this category, and then everything you're gonna have a receipt for. And they were like, oh, well, this is easy now, I'm not, just writing down with each receipt, kind of penciling in, it's for this. So it seems to be a good tool for them.
One additional benefit that we saw is the completion reports that came in this year were so much clearer and easier for us to understand. And I think they felt the same way. So we had a much simpler process of evaluating.
Well, you made it easier. I mean, when somebody filling out a grant and you're trying to think, well, what do I need to put in there? There's a problem right there. And this way, there's no real thought of what I need to put in there. It says, this is what I want. So it's, and when it's done, it's what you want.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and one of my personal goals is to try to enrich Layton, right? I mean, that's the whole
Sure.
point of RAN. And I think if we can get more smaller organizations to participate in this, we're gonna be a better
Sure.
program. And this makes this a little bit more possible. It takes away the scariness of it for some of these organizations. Because a grant, just when you say filling out a grant, it can be overwhelming for a small organization. We're hoping this takes away
that part of
that problem. Yeah.
I definitely appreciate doing that. We've had lots of discussions in here just about making sure that we were having an open application for people who aren't necessarily professional organizations, but people who just want to do something for the community. That's what RAMP's for, so I appreciate that. It's something we've talked about. The completion report is something that I was thinking about with the document. So the completion report is something we do to make sure that they followed what they said they were gonna follow, not just financially, but they have a lot of things that they answer, like I'm making sure it's meeting the parameters of the grant. So if we found someone that wasn't doing that, what do we do?
So that's when they actually go for their funding. So it's at that time.
Reimbursement funding,
Okay.
so it's not, they don't get the money up front.
Yeah.
That
So,
makes sense.
but with that, even if they're meeting it or making mistakes, it's now our time. We have a little bit more of a surgical tool to say, hey, you didn't do it right on this part. So next time when you fill out your application, you need to be more clear on this, or in the application process, it's gonna be considered
Yeah,
that you're doing something different.
That's great, and that's actually what the document made me think about, because you would be able to have the application right there and said, see, you said this wasn't gonna do this on your application.
Exactly.
Okay. No, that's great, that helps to get an auditing process too. Awesome.
So yeah, so I guess just one more question for you. We've had great feedback from the council. Is there more that we need to be doing? I feel like Clint gives us great direction when we're in there, but we've made some changes, especially from feedback from this room, right? We want to continue to make it better. So what else can we do?
Well, you can get more money.
Yeah, shop a little bit more, Dave.
Yeah, there we
We'll
go.
get a little bit of that.
Spend local.
The only suggestion I have, well, first of all, I think it's great, and especially the automated piece, because, that saves time for everybody, not just those who are applying, but also for you all reviewing it. But instead of having like was that a one-off session where you did like your feedback?
So we're gonna do 2 feedback sessions, two
No, I think maybe
sessions a
let me
year.
restate that. I mean, having possibly something in your application at the end, like at the end of the season or whatever, I don't know what the appropriate period is, but allowing for opportunities for those who are applying to give more feedback. So instead of just having like, we're gonna do a big revamp, so we wanna get feedback from everybody
Right.
now, like maybe circumventing that and just making sure that there's more opportunity for that dialogue, not just about the application itself, but just in general, because we don't fill out the application. So we see it here and it looks amazing, but just making sure that there's opportunity for those who are filling it out to be able to say, hey, you know, this is a suggestion, or we didn't quite understand how this was done, that type of thing, just so that there's ongoing feedback instead of just a one-time when we want to change something.
Yeah, so we've now created 2 workshops, and I'm hoping this is our big push for feedback each year, is for completion reports like we did, we open it up and teach them how to do their completion reports. And that's when they come in to sign, city council has approved you, you're gonna get this grant, come and get your documents. When they do that, we did a training, and we're gonna keep doing this every year, and tell them how the completion report needs to go ahead of time, right, and how they need to be doing their receipts and all of that. And then at that time, ask for feedback. And then again, before the application period opens or right at the beginning of it, do another workshop. Once again, guiding them, helping them understand if we make any changes, or just a general walkthrough, but then asking for feedback. And so we really had 3 feedback sessions this year, and we got great information in each one.
How many people attended?
It wasn't as big on the application one. There were only two organizations that came to how to fill out the application, but we made it mandatory for the completion report workshop. That's where they come in and they sign for their grant. So they sat through it, and so it was everybody. Yeah, I think we had 2 that weren't able to show up right then that we recorded it for and held their stuff and made sure that they got through it as well. So that's it for
Good
us.
stuff.
You guys have anything else?
Add a thank you to the Ramp Commission, to Kimberly, to Dave, to Cameron. This isn't just happened. It's been 2.5 years, I think, of no, we gotta get better, we gotta get better, and 2 cycles, and it's exciting, and especially going into this next year when Ramp's gonna be on the ballot again. It's just important that this is a smooth process, that it benefits the community, and making it easy to apply, and but keeping, these are the parameters, and keeping that in mind, you wanna follow the law.
Yeah.
And it's been really good. The commissioners are great, they're professional, they no nonsense, but they're also compassionate, and they've worked with applicants to make sure that things go smoothly, and to help out when needed, and just a great organization, so thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna keep getting better. That's the goal, is we're gonna continually improve it every year.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
You can go ahead and,
Okay. Next on the agenda, we have the VOCA grant. So Clint is going to take care of that one for us. And the last one, Julie's the second one.
Thank you. So I'm going to introduce to you our new victim advocate. Let's get this going here. So this is Kristlyn Kennard. She's our new victim advocate. We're happy to introduce you to her today. We just want to reiterate our appreciation for your support of this program. It provides a very valuable service to our citizens, and we're really lucky to have Kristlyn on board. She hit the ground running. She's been working hard, and she's got a lot of energy for the position, and we're doing great things. So with that, I'll turn the time over to her.
Awesome, thank you. So like Clint said, I'm Kristlyn, the new Victim Service Coordinator. Just a little bit of my background. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and a certificate in juvenile justice. I've had experience working with victims. I worked at our local domestic violence shelter for a few years. And then I've also got some experience with drug and alcohol addiction. Part of our team too is Kelly Rushton. He also has a degree in criminal justice, and he spent most of his career in law enforcement, and now he's with us. He's been with us for about 5 years now, so. I just click here,
I think you can do, yeah, try that.
maybe.
Grab that. So.
We no longer have dog. There we go.
There we go. Okay. So our victim program serves mostly victims of misdemeanors A, B, and C's. But every once in a while we'll do other crimes. Sometimes we'll go with the county and help them with their felony cases that have taken place in Layton. We serve victims of all ages, races, genders, everyone that's a victim of a crime. Listed on this slide are just some of the different categories of crimes that we serve. So we'll do adult physical assault, we do some adult sex crimes, child abuse or neglect, we do some child sex crimes. Domestic violence is kind of our biggest population that we serve. Every once in a while we'll get a DUI, other vehicular ones, and then we do some financial crimes, elder abuse, custodial interference. We have stalking and harassment, and then just some other like property crimes, small theft, and violation of protective orders. So these are just some of the services that we do provide. Typically, we first make contact with victims shortly after their initial encounter with law enforcement. We try to get them within a few days, sometimes it turns out to be a few weeks, and then we support them throughout the entirety of the court process. So sometimes that could be weeks, sometimes it's years, so just depending on the situation. And if needed, we can also provide services after the defendant is sentenced and serves their sentence. We'll sometimes provide services there. During our initial contact with victims and throughout the entirety of the court process, we offer information and referrals. This includes a lot of how-tos in the court system, so like how to file a protective order. We also paint a picture for the victims about what it might look like for their case to be going through the system. A lot of people don't have the knowledge of it, and it can be very confusing, so we like to paint a picture at the very beginning. It is mine and Kelly's job to inform victims of their rights and uphold them throughout the entirety of the court process. And then there are also some services that unfortunately we are unable to provide. So we often refer to other victim services and just other community services. So we work closely with those other services. We also offer personal advocacy services. This includes like obtaining public benefits, so WIC, food stamps, stuff like that. We also provide intervention with employers, landlords, creditors, and academic institutions to help maintain their financial stability after these life-changing events happen. The court process can lead to some very emotional experiences for our victims. They have a lot to do. Sometimes they have to tell their story over and over again, and that can be very traumatic. And they have to sometimes testify in front of their perpetrator. It can be a lot, so we provide a lot of emotional support to the victims, and this also includes safety planning. So we help them to come up with safety plans for their emotional well-being and their physical well-being. Let's see. We're one of the few cities in this area that have a housing grant with their VOCA funds, which we are so grateful for. We do a lot of great things with that. We can help pay for rent. We've done cameras or other safety features at victims' houses, moving fees, utilities, stuff like that. And then since we are based out of a prosecutor's office, our main focus is kind of the criminal justice assistance. So we notify victims every time an event happens in their case. So if the defendant goes to a hearing, we provide notifications for that. We'll help victims with victim impact statements. So they can provide a statement to the judge at sentencing, and we just help support them through that. We can help them write it, and sometimes we also speak on their behalf at sentencing. We also offer assistance with restitution. If there was any like financial loss, we can assist with gaining that. We do civil and criminal protective orders, just whatever fits the victim's needs more. And then sometimes we assist with family law issues. We see a lot of divorce and custody cases, so we'll help support them through that. We can provide immigration assistance to victims who are not citizens. And then we will accompany them to prosecution interviews as well as law enforcement interviews, just to be that extra support for them and to make sure, again, to make sure that their rights are being upheld throughout the whole process. And then we'll also accompany them to court. So if they have the right to come to any of the hearings. So if they ever come to the hearings, either me or Kelly will go over with them and be their support there. So just a couple of our program accomplishments. Our last quarter was July to September. Our housing program paid out $4,844. Some of this money we gave to a victim. She was in her home with a minor child, and the defendant broke in and left damage to the front door. This obviously caused a lot of safety concern for her and stuff, so we used some of our housing funds to replace the door so that they could feel safe in their own home again. And then our victim program from July to September, we assisted 316 victims with various services. One of the victims that we assisted, she was a victim of domestic violence assault. And domestic violence is really hard to prosecute just because of the nature of the relationship, the lack of witnesses, and all the other factors that go into that. So we were able to take this certain case to trial. The jury found him guilty on all 3 counts that he was being charged with. And our victim advocates supported the victim and her children throughout the entirety of the court process, and we overcame many barriers. One of the barriers was childcare. She has very young children, so attending court and doing all the stuff that she has to take a case to trial was really hard. So we provided toys, snacks, coloring books and stuff, and we found a room for the day of trial. We found a room in the courthouse that the children could stay while she testified, so she didn't have to worry about her kids or what they were doing or if they were safe. So, and then she was also worried about the day of trial, about seeing the defendant and the kids seeing the defendant. So we worked closely with the security at the courthouse to make sure that they were safe and kind of out of the way. And then I spent many hours on the phone with her in person, emailing, just making sure that she felt supported, prepared for trial, and that she had a clear understanding of everything that was going on. We provided a lot of emotional support for her as it was a very hard time in her life. And we also were able to get her and her children on a protective order so that she had some additional safety and comfort. So that's kind of my presentation. Does anyone have any questions for me? Yes.
I don't have a question. The reason, years ago, you all know, and I say it maybe too much, but sub percent, we started a sub percent. And the reason we switched from an open whatever, come on in, we'll talk to you, we switched to the victim's advocate. Because we now know that when we help somebody, it's needed. Where before, sometimes you get lied to. But this was something that it's not foo-foo. This is real stuff. And to be able to help the family is, to me, what it's all about. That, you know, you can't fix everything, but maybe you can make somebody smile sometime. And that's why we switched.
And we appreciate that
Because of
so
what,
much.
well, I don't even want to go into the stuff that you do. Just reading that makes me emotional, and that, but you know, those poor kids, they don't have a choice at all, you know, and so, anyway, I just want to say that not only is, it's a great program, and I'm glad that Layton City does that. And I'd fight tooth and nail if anybody said to get rid of it.
Well, we appreciate that support very
because
much.
it's, you know, it helps the truly needful, which is what we should be doing.
Yeah, and me and Kelly have been working hard on that stuff for Santa, getting the families
Yes,
together.
I know I'll get
Stuff
it.
the last few weeks, and we've really seen the impact it makes. I mean, being a victim of crime during
Sure.
the holidays, and then having to worry about being displaced from your home because of being a crime, and then also having to provide Christmas for your family,
Well, what
it's a
hurt me
huge
the
burden.
most was seeing, or not seeing, but being told that a lot of times they have to leave at a time when somebody's not there. And so they load up and go. And the kids are walking out with a trash bag with everything they've taken with them. And I look at my kids, growing up, you couldn't even get all their damn clothes in a trash bag, you know, much less anything that was, so a lot of these kids leave treasures behind, and maybe they don't get them back, I don't know. And that was, you know, that, it just makes things real, and not a good real, I mean, good in the respect they have held, but it's tough, yeah.
Well, Chrislyn, we really appreciate your services and what you do, because it takes a special type of person to be able to work with these folks, to comfort them, and to help them through the process.
well, thank you.
So-
I sure love it. It's my passion, so
Well,
I love this
that's what I'm
job. and-
saying, welcome aboard, and like,
Thank you.
wow, that's not an easy task.
And thank you guys for your support. I mean, we are providing life-saving and life-changing services to these people, so
If
any
you can-
support we can get, we love it.
If you can come back at 7 o'clock, I'd like to acknowledge you there as well. You need to come back, is what I'm trying to tell you. How's that? If you can.
Make a couple comments. So the last few times we've had the report about the local grant, there was questions of the funding that,
Decrease.
yeah,
Yeah.
is it still decreasing or is it?
Unfortunately, we think we're gonna see another decrease. I was at a meeting today and they were unfortunately looking at like a 20% decrease.
What does that mean as far as how much we receive?
So
as a
most,
city?
most likely it's gonna affect our housing money, if anything. So that will be a huge loss. We get about 40,000 for the housing grant, and so that will be a huge loss to not be able to provide that extra income to the victims.
So you're saying we lose maybe 40% of that grant?
So it's all under the same grant, but
Oh, okay.
that's most
It's
likely
just the
where,
way that you
yeah.
budgeted it out, okay.
And listen to the stories and it reminds me of I think we all are familiar with the starfish story, all the starfish on the beach and trying to throw them.
Yeah.
I'm sure you think that way, that there's just so many and that one starfish you throw in changed their entire life. Wish there was more that we could do, wish there was more of you and a bigger army to help.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're making a difference every time you help someone, so again, thank you.
Of course, and we are looking into some other funding sources to see if we can maybe get another victim advocate on board and expand our services a little bit, so we're hoping to see that in the next few years.
There's a county grant that we've used in the past that we're hopeful we can get again this next coming grant cycle, so we've had conversations with the grant administrator from the county, and he obviously doesn't make the decisions, but he feels like it's a good candidate to be awarded, so we'll apply for that here in another month or two and see what happens with that.
Great, great.
That's very
I think
good.
we could apply money to it by just shutting the water off a day early. Okay. Or maybe a day later. Can't remember.
And we're very, as you would anticipate, we're very careful with the money that is expended. We have a process that, we have several sets of eyeballs that look at it and make sure that they're appropriate expenditures and they're used for the right people in the right circumstances. So we're very careful with how it's spent as well, so that we can maximize those dollars.
Any other comments?
Well, thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Should we go on to our sidewalk discussion then? That's our last one, right?
Yeah, we have that. We also wanted to go into a closed meeting to discuss property
Okay.
and a personnel issue, so we can do that as well if we want to make sure those two issues are, just then come back to the,
But go ahead, we'll proceed now with the sidewalk. Then.
okay, yeah, that's fine.
Let's do a quick update here. Maybe not as detailed if you don't need to, but whatever we need.
Okay, sounds great. Since we're introducing new people, I brought Bryant Jacobs with us tonight. He's our new city engineer. So,
Welcome. Where'd the old city engineer go?
It kind of kicked me out. Maybe I've been here too many times. You guys got sick of me, but.
You guys kind of look like
Jacobson?
engineers. Just Jacobs.
Jacobs. Yeah, so Bryant comes to us with a lot of experience from Weber Basin, as well as he was at Hooper City before that, and, after that, and so really happy to have him with us. He's been working a lot on this project with some of our other staff to address the sidewalk issue that we kind of gave you a brief summary of last time, but again, we're talking about the Case Creek Estate subdivision. For those of you who are familiar with that, it's down on the southwest corner of the city, split between the tree farm power corridor, and so we've broken it into 3 areas. Area A is west of the tree farm, B is east of the tree farm, and the west of the creek, and then the creek is area C is everything east of the creek. So, project overview: 3,300 feet of broken sidewalk needs to be replaced, 260 feet of curb and gutter, and then 54 ADA ramps need to be updated. That is a ADA rule that once you start sizable projects like this, then you have to bring up all the stuff to that new code, so.
This isn't the entire sidewalk, or what percentage of this is the?
Oh, no, it's not the entire sidewalk, but it's a huge amount of sidewalk for this area to
But
just
it's,
be.
that covers all 3 areas.
But
right?
it does that is all 3 areas, 3,300 feet of sidewalk. So the issue is 3 routes are causing the majority of the damage to the sidewalk in the subdivision. By far, it is the #1 reason why the sidewalk needs to be repaired. So again, we had some areas, you can see minor displacements. The trees start to lift, and then it just continues to become a problem. Grinding and cutting the roots is a very temporary solution that then ends up destabilizing the trees and most likely will kill them anyway. And so there's a lot of problems with trying to do that. We're not a huge fan of having to remove trees, but in this case, the trees are actually not a problem. They're not good trees to have in a park strip. And
If you kill the tree, cut it down, do the roots continue to grow?
No, not if you cut it down, and our plan would be that you would remove the tree and grind the roots.
Grind it down.
And grind it down so the stump.
I'm just saying, that are there some, if you kill the tree and the root's not gonna,
No, the roots.
there's no way to put the cement,
No.
like push it down, you
No,
have to take it out.
no, once
That's what I'm asking.
once it's lifted like this, the only way to do it is to pull the sidewalks out and then replace it. We need to cut the roots out and then replace the road base underneath the sidewalk, things like that, so. But you can see these slabs are 4 inches thick, so you can see how high that's lifted. This is
Wow.
just buckled in the middle. So key issue is that sidewalk needs to be repaired. Talking with Clint, we do have a responsibility to keep the sidewalks passable and safe for people from an ADA standpoint, and so there's quite a bit of liability on us if we don't get this taken care of. So again, the solution here unfortunately is that the trees that are causing damage to the sidewalk need to be removed. They need to be replaced to meet our new landscape ordinance, or our current landscape ordinance, or the one that was in place at the time that the subdivision was approved. But we do want them to put trees that are suitable for the park strip. A lot of these are honey locust trees that are, if you're familiar with those, are very, very big. They have very shallow root systems that are causing the problem. So some additional information: these trees in the park strip are the responsibility of the homeowner from what we can see. The homeowners should remove the trees so the city can replace the sidewalk. This has been discussed in what we found in the meeting minutes that are online from the HOA since at least 2021. Majority of these trees, go ahead.
Sorry, Steve.
Yep.
I'm a lawyer. Your wording, when you said from as much as we can find out, that it's the tree, that it's the owner's responsibility, is there some concern about that not being their responsibility, or?
The question was whether or not it was the HOA's responsibility or the homeowners.
And they think it's the
From what
homeowners.
we see in the recorded CCRs, it is the homeowner's responsibility, so. And then, this is an aside, but the majority of the trees are not on the permitted street tree list, but at the time these were planted, there wasn't a street tree list, so we're not trying to hold that against them,
Yeah.
but at the same time, there is an approved list, and these would not meet that requirement today, so.
You can't replant them, put it that way.
Not the
The
same
same trees,
species.
yeah.
Yeah, we do want to see the trees
Right.
replanted, because the trees are,
Right.
important to us. So, we broke this down, there's about 18 pages of drawings. I'm not gonna show all of them to you because I'm feeling nice today, so. But we're gonna focus on this western area, and then we're gonna break it down to this. So what we've had to do, and Bryant and the engineering staff have gone through, and they've identified all of the trees in the area that are causing problems. So all of the trees in red, or the red dots are the trees, okay? The blue lines are where sidewalk needs to be replaced, and so you can see obviously where the red dots are, there's a lot of blue lines because we need to fix the sidewalks in that area.
That's every home in there.
Not quite every home, but in this particular page, yes, there's a lot here. So, it's, I think the furthest west, if I'm not mistaken, was the first subdivision phases that went in, and so there was more damage in the western side of the subdivision than the eastern, but there are some issues. So, the question then became, okay, how many trees are gonna be left, right? There's 500 trees in the subdivision. And so we put together a map that says, okay, what trees would be left if we came in and removed all the ones in red? So the red circles you can see here would be the trees that are currently causing damage. The orange dots are the ones that have the potential. We went out with an arborist, and the arborist went through every single tree, Bryant, and the arborist drove the subdivision. Every single tree was categorized as either small, medium, or large, whether it was going to, or currently damaging, whether it had the potential within 1 to 5 years to damage, or beyond 5 years could potentially damage, or just unknown. So everything in the kind of bluish dots are the ones that would fall outside of that 5-year range where it may or may not cause problems. The ones in orange are not currently causing damage, but they're the type and size of tree that potentially could cause damage. So, yeah, in the next 5 years. So the proposal is, there's 517 trees in the subdivision. At least 207 of those would remain because they're not causing any damage. They're not within this potential 5-year window or currently causing damage, but there are 163 trees that have caused damage, and our proposal is to have a contractor remove those. With the city arborist, we have identified another 147 trees that probably will cause damage in the next 5 years. Our proposal is that the city repair the sidewalk at 100% city-funded costs, also the sidewalk that's damaged, and the 54 ADA ramps, all part of the city fees or city construction project. However, we feel like we should participate with the trees just due to the sheer volume and size of the trees. We've got a really good price, we feel, from a tree removal service to be able to remove these trees, but 160 of those trees are causing damage to the city infrastructure, and we're proposing to ask the homeowners to participate 50-50 in that cost, because they are their trees and they really are responsible for them. The homeowners would then also be asked to replace the trees from what tree on the approved tree list and meet either the 2 trees per lot, which was the original subdivision approved requirement, or the 1 tree per 40 feet per the current city ordinance, whichever one is less stringent. And those trees we would expect the homeowners to pay for 100% on their costs.
Are the 163 trees that are maybes?
So that's
Are they allowed to?
that's
like-
the next slide here.
Oh, okay.
So, if they're, so those are the trees that are currently causing damage. We need to
Right.
take those out. There's no question that we can't fix the sidewalk without taking those out. However, we feel like because of the potential for issues in the next 5 years, that we are proposing that the city also offer this option
The same
to
deal.
those homeowners to say, hey, your tree's not causing damage now, but it could in the next 5 years. Because of that, you can participate in this 50/50 option for having the city contractor remove the trees while we're there. However, they would be responsible if they choose not to participate for any future damage that tree caused or anything. So they would not only be responsible for the tree, but they should also pay for the sidewalk that it damages if they choose not to participate. And then we would still ask them not only to participate 50/50 on the removal, but then to replace the trees to make sure they're in compliance with the landscape ordinances that the city has as well.
When you define to me how you replace, excuse me, how do you cut the tree down? What do you do?
So the tree removal company would come in, they would cut
No,
the tree down.
I get that, and they
Yeah.
cut the tree down.
They cut the tree
But
down.
what do you do? I mean, do you bore down?
No, they would cut it off
They
at the
just cut
stump.
it and that's it?
No.
And then you
no, no,
grind it.
no. And then they
You
would
get it
come in
grinded.
and they would grind it, so the plan
Okay.
is we've got a sidewalk contractor and we've got a tree removal company.
Right, yeah.
We would have the sidewalk contractor, if we can schedule this properly, we will have the sidewalk contractor come remove the sidewalks. The tree removal company right behind them, remove the trees, grind the stumps down and all the roots that are underneath the sidewalk, get them
Okay.
removed, and then the sidewalk contractor would come back behind the tree removal company,
Right.
replace the sidewalk, so that we're not having these huge extended gaps of 3,300 feet of sidewalk that's.
Well, and it's also, yeah, I'm thinking, if you cut down a tree in my yard, then I gotta replant it, not, then I have to replant a tree. It's not that easy if there's a stump there.
Yeah.
Or a,
Yeah, and so
Piece
the
of-
pricing that we have is
You
to
know,
remove this, or
to get rid of that
to
so
grind
you
down the
can.
stump, not to remove the stump, but to grind it down to what typically is done for those things. You don't wanna be ripping these stumps out, they're probably
Well,
all
yeah.
twisted around utilities and
Right.
power and gas and phone and things like that.
Can they,
What-
oh, sorry, Joe.
No, go ahead.
Is this mandatory for these homeowners?
The 160
Which part?
we need.
The first 160?
Yeah, the
We
160
feel
you
like
should.
this is our proposal, that we want to go to the HOA and say, this is coming, we need to talk to you and let you know that we're going to be contacting your homeowners.
I
But
was
yes,
just, I was just curious about if they say no, what's the enforcement mechanism?
That's a good question. The sidewalks have gotta get fixed. And so
Because I mean,
our
to-
ordinance allows us to send them a letter that says this has to happen, and that any expenses, we can charge them 100% of this.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
we're trying to say, hey, we understand this is a big scope, but the city has to get this fixed.
Well, I think it's a fair, I mean, just
It's-
it's a fair
Mhm.
offer.
Yes,
I'm
it
just
Yeah.
curious what would happen if someone said, I don't have the money to do that.
Mhm.
do you have the ability to do something like on the water bill? I mean, like make payments, 4 or 5 payments, I don't know.
We're trying to avoid that. That puts a huge,
Just a lot of work.
onus and work onto
I
our finance
understand.
department with all 22,000, 25,000 accounts we have. But that would really be something that I guess would be up to the council and Alex to discuss, is how we want to do that. I think our goal is to try and get ahead of this and notify people and say, hey, this is what the schedule is, and then give them a deadline to be able to.
Yeah.
That was
figure
gonna
out
be
how to
my
figure that.
question. What is the schedule and what do you
So
anticipate the
our
schedule?
goal would be to start this in the spring, as soon as the snow kind of comes off the ground, we would be able to have our tree removal and concrete crews in there to start doing this work. So we wanted to get this before you, so we could then work with the HOA. We'll have to send some letters out and probably have a meeting with the HOA and the residents to tell them about the program and the plan and what we're looking to do, so.
So you have their lot, then you have the sidewalk, and then you have the parking strip. The trees are in the parking strip, but the parking strip's owned by the city.
In this case, the sidewalk and the park strip were in an actual easement.
An easement.
Yeah, this was the
For,
first.
for utilities, for.
Yeah, for
What we're
utilities and
saying
sidewalk.
is, for utilities and sidewalk. It's
Mhm.
just destroyed the sidewalk, and who knows about the utilities?
Mhm.
It's, okay.
Yeah, so we're saying if you're within the current damage, it is mandatory. If you're in the potential 1 to 5, then you have this option, hopefully to save yourself a lot of money. Any of the homeowners that have the trees that have been deemed not within that 5-year window, they wouldn't be eligible, and that they would still should be responsible for any future damage to the sidewalks, just like the rest of the, homeowners who have trees.
What's the estimate for per house?
So there's 170 homes.
Good job.
Yeah, there's 170 homes in the area that we anticipate would be affected by this. If you divide that out evenly, it's about $1,200 per resident, plus whatever the trees they need to replace are. But you have some homes that have multiple trees and others have a single tree. And then that's basically, we're looking at a total of $750,000 for the project, which the city would be covering $550, and the HOA, the homeowners would be responsible for about $200,000 worth of tree removal because of the situation, plus whatever the trees cost. So we have looked, a couple of the trees that we found were just under the $300 mark for the 2-inch caliper that our ordinance requires.
This is probably not something you can answer, maybe Clint can, but do the homeowners have some sort of right of action against the HOA for they're one that planted the trees and.
Potentially, I haven't dug into the CCNRs and looked at all that, but yeah, potentially.
I know we're gonna get contacted, so I'm not giving them a remedy, but.
And ultimately, they are the HOA.
But that would be against themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it might spread it a little bit thinner across more households, but
Well, I guess,
ultimately, they are the HOA.
I guess I was just thinking if they were paying dues and there was a balance that the HOA could tap into,
Yeah.
potential remedies, that's why you have a balance in HOAs for stuff like this, so.
You're right.
Okay.
So the intention is to, you want to, of course, to do the analysis and then make you guys aware of it. And then, as Steve said, the next step is to reach out to the HOA, make them aware that we're aware, and talk through that, and see, hopefully, the city and them will be on the same page, and then collectively go to the residents and explain it. And at that time, we'll talk to them about their view of how the HOA could participate in that to try to adjust it. I think one thing that's important, even though it hasn't been spoken, is this is on a scale that we haven't had in the city, but it's in fact, it's more generous. It's very consistent with how we've handled for years and years and years and years individual lots and people. So if you don't, sometimes if you think about there's 170 trees coming out, then there's a reasonable feeling of this is so big for residents to do. But if you look at it just lot by lot, it's no different than, in fact, it's even not more generous than what we've done in the past, and that people, we've been doing silently one here and one there for 20 years. And 20 years. So we've tried to maintain an approach that is consistent with what others have been asked to do, but also recognizing that the scale of it is different. And that's why we felt like it's important maybe for the city to be a little more generous in its approach because of the scale of it, and because it's not just cutting down a single tree and doing, there's the grinding, there's the tree removal, these are mature trees, it's different. And so we've tried to be very, from a staff perspective, consistent with a principle, but also recognizing there's adjustment and fair. And we hope that through collaboration with the HOA, maybe they'll bring something to that space as well that can have people say, yeah, we hate to lose our trees, but boy, we feel good about the process at least. And some of these are estimates. Hopefully if someone works with nurseries, maybe there's a bulk price. If you sell one tree, it's $300. If you sell 150, maybe there's something else. And we're not proposing to get involved in that, but certainly the HOA could, as an example. And so we think that there's some economies of scale if it can be a cooperative approach, but it is consistent with what we've done in the past. You look at it lot by lot. The other thing to mention, sorry, Steve, is that what we're proposing, at least, what we think legally, is somebody there may have been a lot, Bettina may have her family may have had a lot there. The HOA required 2 trees, she's got 5, because she wanted to put more trees in. So if some of those trees are damaging the sidewalks, they've got to go. But we're not telling people you have to replace 5 back. We're saying the city standard is 1 per 40 feet. Now, the HOA has its own standard, so they're going to replace, the HOA will have to enforce, not the city on their behalf. So some people that have 5 trees aren't being forced to replace 5 trees back. They're just being forced to replace what the standard is for the city. So that's another, nuance with some people that we think what the city's requiring is reasonable and consistent across through the subdivision, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yep.
There is another option too, if they don't want to be in the park strip with the new tree, to Dave's point, they can actually go 10 feet behind the sidewalk and still meet the ordinance as well, so.
You mentioned in one of the slides that there was meeting minutes from HOA about this.
Yeah, we just happened to look up their HOA to figure out who we needed to contact and notice they
What was
had board minutes.
What was the conversation about?
It was about the sidewalks and damage to the sidewalk, and I believe that wording was actually taken straight from their minutes, that the homeowner should remove it and then call the city so we can replace the sidewalk. And those were since 2021, and there's been multiple kind of different discussions about it.
That's the question I had, so they're already considering that they're gonna have to play a role in the replacement remedy in the situation.
We're not sure if that was the entire HOA or if it was just the board meeting minutes or when those discussions had all been had, but if you walk through that subdivision, it's pretty clear that there's some major issues that need to be addressed.
And we did say, in those board meetings, we found 4, maybe 5 times where they were addressed, and there are some inconsistencies, and in one place it said that they were to call the city and the city would come out and replace the sidewalk at 100% of the homeowner's cost, which is not true. And in another place it said that the city would, once they remove their tree, then to call the city, and then the city would come out and replace it. So the process is kind of there, it's not super clear, and so that's why we think working with the HOA would be good, because then it's clear coming, instead of like, oh, I heard this from the city, and they get most of the information, but, and it's also our project, so we don't want to let them know, like, hey, we're gonna come with our sidewalk project in March, hopefully you're ready for us, so that's another reason why we want to kind of orchestrate the whole tree removal and the sidewalk, that way we can do them at the same time.
Yeah, I have a neighbor just up the road from me that I watched the process. I don't know what the deal was with the city, but they had these 3 big trees, room the sidewalk, they cut them down, and then months later, they got the grinder out and actually tried to, we rented one, that didn't work, and so had a service come and do it. And then after that, the city came and, with just 2 sections of sidewalk. So again, I mean, you mentioned that we do it all the time, witnessed that myself, but seemed to.
This one just is on a lot bigger scale.
Yeah, no, but now it's all flat, and if that's what's gonna happen here, it'll be great.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's.
Yeah.
Well, the whole goal is the safety factor here.
For sure.
That's what we've got to mitigate right away.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's important, there's 3 things. Number one, we're mostly concerned about the safety of our citizens. We don't want our citizens to be hurt, we don't want our employees that are out working to have an accident as well. And secondly, we want to be in compliance with our own ordinance and with federal law, and it is federal law that there are walkable and accessible ramps and sidewalks for people with disabilities. So we want to make sure we're in compliance with federal law. And then, of course, there is the liability aspect, and sidewalk claims can be quite expensive depending on the circumstances and the injury. So the critical piece is a plan and an implementation of the plan.
All right, we good? Too bad they're too old. I'm not an arborist, clearly, but my husband may or may not have removed a tree and replanted it a time or two. So too bad that they're too old to be able to do that. Even those postponed, the potential ones.
Farmers market.
I know, it just, because you think of other places around the city where we would like to see, mature trees, but.
It's a beautiful neighborhood.
That is, it's one of a kind.
Would this be a multi-year project?
No,
Hope not.
we would come in and take care of it all in 1 year.
It's a big project.
Yeah, there. Okay, are we comfortable then? Moving on?
So we'll approach the HOA next time if you're comfortable, and then we'll, obviously, there will be interest generated, there's no doubt about that, and we'll keep you bringing back updates, and I'm sure you'll hear directly as well, but we wanted you to be aware of the approach and make sure you felt, we're proposing, that you felt comfortable with that.
Well, it's definitely a fair offer. So I'm okay with that myself.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well then that's that covers all of our agenda items, but then I understand we need to go into a closed work session, so with that, I would look for a motion to do so.
Go into a closed session?
So moved.
to go ahead and get our Layton City Council meeting started this evening for November 21st. Our start time is 7 p.m. And I got to say, it's exciting to see so many people here in attendance tonight, and for a couple of good reasons, I know for sure. So welcome everyone, and welcome anyone online as well. As customary, we like to always start our council meeting out with a prayer and a pledge, and we take turns individually up here on the dais. So tonight I'm going to turn the time over to Councilmember Thomas to conduct those ceremony.
We'll have an opening prayer right now. Our Father in heaven, we're indeed grateful to be gathered together in a council meeting concerning Layton City. We pray that thy Spirit might be with us, that as we talk about the things which are important, that we might make good decisions, that we may think them through and understand the decision that we are making. We're grateful for this great land, for this great city. We're grateful for the people who have helped make it this great land, those who have served and those who are serving, and those who are doing things which make this land a better place to live. We're grateful for the opportunity to live in Layton. We're thankful that we are able to do the things which affect Layton, and hopefully in a positive way. And these things we pray and thank thee for in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
If you'll now stand for the pledge. You've got a hat on, please remove it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilman Thomas, for that. Okay, Council, to start off, we do need to take care of some minutes that have been written up. So if you could, if there's no corrections or changes for that, I'd look for a motion on the 3 sets of minutes, and please state the date and the meeting that it was taken for.
Madam Mayor, I move that we adopt minutes of Layton City Council work meeting September 19th, 2024, minutes of Layton City Council meeting September 19th, 2024, and the minutes of Layton City Council meeting October 17th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second that we adopt the minutes as written. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll go on to item number 2, which is our municipal announcements. And I know that we've got a few of those, so I'll go ahead and turn the time over to the council who needs to present those.
Madam Mayor, thank you. Couple fun events coming this coming week to kick off the holiday season. This Monday on the 25th, 6 to 8 p.m., right here in the park in the newly opened round pavilion, we will have the annual holiday lighting ceremony. 6 to 8 p.m., as I said, we'll have some performances by a local elementary school choir to get us in the mood for the holidays, and end with a countdown to turn the lights on. Always a fun event for family, for the kids. I believe hot chocolate will be available from the Rotary Club at the booth here and out in the park. And in addition, let's see, the lights will be on from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. from the 25th there until December 31st. So bring the family out during that time. Hay rides on December 4th from 6 to 8 p.m. So will be offered by the city.
I'll just add one thing to the holiday lights. Turning them on, there may be a special guest. In fact, I know there will be a special guest that will be there, so you may want to come and bring a camera.
Oh, it's not me.
No. Okay. Okay, anyone else wants to make the announcements? I will also add one more announcement then that will take place this Sunday evening at the conference center. In the past, hopefully most of you are aware, we do have a very strong interfaith council that brings everyone together, all the different faiths, and at the Christmas time they put on a very nice program. And so they've been practicing, and it's going to take place at the conference center, knowing that the high school is under construction. So we encourage everyone to go over there. And I know that they're also going to continue with the nativity lighting that evening as well. And from what I understand, could be a live nativity. So good encouragement for all to come out and support our interfaith groups. So that's Sunday. I believe the concert's at 7. It starts at 7. Which means they want everyone in their seats by 1:45. So, okay. Anyone else have anything else they'd like to add to it? Okay, very good. Well, then let's go ahead and move on to the exciting part of our agenda, which is verbal petitions and presentations. And it's not too often that we get to be able to interact with such a strong group of youth that's in our area. And tonight, they need to be sworn into office, which is our youth council group. So I would like to invite Lindsay Ingerbertson. Sorry if I messed her name up. I try not to do that. If she could come up and be able to introduce the kids. And what we'll do is we'll have them line up here, and then Kim, our city recorder, will be able to do the honors.
Everybody. Okay, I'm Lindsay Ingebretson. I'm one of the advisors, so gets to work with these amazing youth, and my other advisors get to stand up are Lacey Ott and Camille Houghton, and it really is an honor. They're great kids. Like, we couldn't ask for a better group, and they volunteer their time willingly and without being forced, I believe, to serve the city and to learn more about government. And I know that we're in good hands. So I will introduce them first with our mayor. Our youth mayor is Rin Houghton. And then our mayor pro tem, which is Ian Scotty, and he will be our mayor next year. And then just going in order, we have Madison Waite. If you want to wave your hand a little, there you go. Isabel Taylor, Alex Doyle, Dane Van Hook, Kason Ingebretson, Luke Bailey, Titan Ott, Gus Parkinson, Ian, and then Lyra Gutierrez, Austin Coburn, Adele Fahan, and Katie Hughes. Woohoo. I don't know if you've ever done it before. Yeah, I've been here a few times.
Okay, I need to have you each raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Utah, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. Congratulations. Woohoo!
Good shot, guys.
Yeah, like I said, this is exciting to kind of see this young group of individuals knowing that they're willing to put in the time and effort to learn about government. But more importantly, you will see them out in the community. These kids have already stepped up. They've helped out in so many different ways. And we couldn't be more proud of you, and we look forward to having you guys rejoin us here on the dais when it works out for you, because it's a great opportunity, and we want to just do all we can to encourage you to continue to be the bright stars that you are within our community. And thank you for your service. Proud mama. Go ahead.
Just, is this on? Yeah, I applaud you for thinking, you're called the Layton Youth Council after the Layton City Council. I applaud you on my right hand for wanting to be involved in city matters. My left hand says, I don't know if you're all there, if you want to be involved in city matters. But it's refreshing to see you. I say youth, and I don't mean that in a bad way. That look beyond, I'm going to play tennis or whatever. You know, that there's other things that I could maybe do, and whether or not people want to believe it, people in government make the decisions, good, bad, and ugly. So make good ones. Thank you.
Do you mind, Madam Mayor?
Councilman Bloxham.
I got to say, it's kind of weird talking to your backs, but I would just say that you guys are our youth council. You're the extension of the city council, right? So we want you to be in tune with things that are important to kids your age, kids you go to school with. And if you think that we need to know something, tell us. We want to know. We want to know what you guys are experiencing, what things are important in the city for kids like your age. And guess what? The very few people, we have about 87,000 people in the city, and very few people are involved in city government. And so if you send us an email or call us on the phone or come to a meeting and speak, guess what? You have an outsized influence on government. You can make a big difference by just speaking up, speaking out. And we say this every year when we have the youth council come in, but you do the same oath of office that we took, exactly the same words that we take when we were sworn in. So again, you're an extension of us. So thank you for your willingness to serve, and don't hesitate to contact us and tell us things that you think we need to do better, or things that we need to know about. All right?
Anyone else? Councilman Morris.
Congratulations, all of you. I wanted to piggyback off what Councilman Bloxham mentioned about the oath of office that you just took. Part of it at the end was to discharge the duties of your office with fidelity. And fidelity, I looked up a little definition, is faithfulness to a person, cause, or belief, demonstrated by continuing loyalty and support. So as you think about your role, supporting each other, being faithful to what you're trying to accomplish. I mean, fidelity is okay, great. What does that mean? Take care of each other, take care of the city, do what you can do, and we'll all be better for it. So thank you once again.
Thank you. You're welcome to, I was going to say, if you could, start over there. You guys circle around so that we can shake your hands, and then you're welcome to go back to your seats. Or, you know, if you have any gathering afterwards, you're welcome to dismiss too. Mayor. Well, I'm going to ask for a personal privilege here. Okay, well, thank you again, kids for joining us and for the parents that were here as well. Council, I do want to ask if I can make a point of personal privilege here to be able to alter the presentation agenda and add one more to it. If you're all in favor of that, I'd appreciate an aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good. Okay, with that then, I'd like to carry on. I know normally these folks very well, and they were certainly willing to come up during citizens' comment, but I think this is very well warranted to do it under our presentation portion of our meeting. And I know I got a group of when I talk about dedicated folks that are willing to go beyond the call of duty within our city to help promote it, to help build it, and more importantly, to fight for our freedom. So with that, I would like to call up our Vietnam veterans, and as well as the Vietnam Veterans Association folks that are in attendance tonight. I know that they have a special presentation they'd like to give us, but on behalf of the city, I think it would be wise if we acknowledge our new victim advocates coordinator. So, Lindsay, if you wouldn't mind, can you come up as well? And perhaps you can be there at the podium. But with that, I'll invite all of our yellow shirt folks to come on up and make their presentation. Where do you want us, right here? You guys are welcome to circle as well. And I know that if you do have a spokesman, whoever's willing, who is being the spokesperson, jump up to the mic, please. Look at that one run away.
And could we have Dennis put his hat back on?
No.
I was going to ask if anybody was sitting in the mayor's chair because that's the position I would be in.
Yeah.
Watch out, Dave.
Yeah.
If you guys don't mind, why don't? Okay, I was going to say, yeah, that works. Well, sorry, you're.
We won't pick you up.
And yeah, if you don't mind, thank you.
Okay. We are the Vietnam Veterans of America and the Associates. We are Chapter 1079 out of Ogden. Yes, we were the organization that was instrumental with the wall that we all love over here in the park. About a month ago or so ago, a few of us met with Joy and Mr. Thomas and learned about a program that you guys are involved in, the Sub for Santa program. And so at our meeting on the 5th, we had a collection, ended up with $410 that night. We are donating $75 along with that, and another $115 to make $600 that we're donating to your Sub for Santa.
Wow. I'm running for the picture on behalf of all of us. So,
But you're one of us.
So there you go.
No
Where's the yellow shirt, Ms. Mayor?
I don't know yet, so.
You're welcome.
Right in the middle.
Well, I was going to say, you have to check when you come in.
Yeah, well, just-
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You had that set for selfies.
No, I did not. I know better than that.
You know, just I would read through there as I can see.
Perhaps we need you guys to come up and let us shake your hands as well, please. It's not too often we get a donation.
You're first. Like lambs to the slaughter.
Good. Okay, well.
I'll change hands here.
You know better than that.
Yes, I am. For a lot of reasons.
Mayor can't wear.
My thumb doesn't come down.
That's all right.
Hey, old man.
You're not playing this game? Yes, you are.
You too.
Yeah.
Miss Bailey, could you bother to stand up?
So you can't see you guys. I love you too. Well, thank you, Lindsay. I hope I didn't put you on the spot there, but I knew that these folks were here, and I knew that you greatly need the funding. So
We appreciate it so much. It helps.
you can speak into the mic.
We appreciate the funding. It helps so many families at such a hard time in their life, and during Christmas time, it means so much. So, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Round of applause. Okay. Well, thank you, Council, for allowing that privilege. I'll now move on to our citizen portion of our meeting. So anyone who wishes to make a comment to this governing body, you're more than welcome to step up to the microphone and please state your name and what city you're from.
I can't disappoint Dave Thomas.
Yeah, right.
Hi, I'm Dennis Howland. I serve as one of the national directors for Vietnam Vets of America. And I just wanted to say, I travel a lot. December 3rd, I'll be on my 6th trip to Washington, D.C. And in between, I went to Louisville, Des Moines, Phoenix, and Reno. So, but every place I go, when I talk to my peers, I tell them the Layton City story. I brag. Because they all say, how do you do it? And I said, we all sit down and we listen, we talk. But I tell them about an incredible partnership, an incredible relationship that our organization has with this city. From building the wall and dedicating it 6 years ago, to a combat war dog monument, to honor those we left in Vietnam. And we went on further to honor those who lost their lives since coming home from Vietnam due to their service in Vietnam, whether they took their own lives or due to Agent Orange. So I brag about this city. Veterans organizations are a bit jealous of our work, our relationship that we have with you. And we brought the parade here 6-7 years ago.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to say thank you. And God bless each of you and have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. We appreciate it. Okay, is there anyone else? Okay, if not, I'll go ahead and move this meeting along then. I'll go down to our consent items. And we do have 3 items on our consent item this evening. And we'll hear all the presentations on all 3 items. And then at that point, the council will be able to take action on them collectively in one single motion. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Mr. Chad Wilkinson for item number A, which is a final plat.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, we've seen this a couple times before. I don't have a lot more to say other than this is the reason why it's here so many times. This is located within our sensitive lands overlay area. It's in a steep area. Just again, the property is 2650 East Gentile. You can see the property outlined in red here on the slide. Again, this property was part of a unauthorized parcel split a long time ago that we're trying to get to a point where it's a legal lot so we can allow for a building permit. This has been, as we said before, it's been reviewed by all the different city departments several times, and we are recommending that the council approve this final plat for Anderson Legacy subdivision located in our sensitive lands overlay. I want to make just one other note. We did find that there was a little bit of a miscommunication on a right-of-way vacation that has to occur, so you're actually going to see that at your next meeting. That does have to do with this subdivision. It allows for a little bit of additional land right here on the corner to come into this subdivision. So you'll see that at your next meeting. Those have to be adopted by ordinance, so we'll bring that back.
Okay. Council, do you have any questions on this?
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, we'll go on to item number B, which is a secondary metering grant agreement, and Mr. Steve Jackson's going to present this information to us.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, it's good to be here with you tonight. Again, bringing before you Resolution 24-33, Secondary Water Grant Agreement Award. We spoke about this briefly in a work meeting probably a month ago. Layton City has worked with Davis Weber County's Canal Company to apply for additional grant funding for secondary water metering in the service area that Davis Weber covers here in Layton. There's an area of service in the northwest corner of the city and then also in the southwest corner of the city. Approximately 1,400 properties metered or need to be metered in there. We're in the process of acquiring that system as part of our master plan, and so we've talked with Davis Weber County's Canal. The state opened up additional funding that had been returned to them from the ARPA grants for secondary metering, and so the city and Davis Weber felt like it was a really good opportunity to get some more grant funding for this project so that we could have some of that money help pay for this. So the state has awarded the city another $3.5 million in grant award. The project is $3.5 million. The ARPA funds will cover 65% of that. So the grant is $2.2 million. The city's portion would be another $1.2 million to be able to complete the project. We anticipate to be able to complete the project starting late 2026, beginning in 2026. We would work throughout the entire year of 26, possibly late 2025. If the other phase of the project goes well, we'll be able to start on this and complete it within the time frame for the ARPA grant. So the city would be obligated for the $1.29 or $229 million. The state ARPA money would come to us in that $2.284 million range. So staff recommends that the council adopt this agreement. We'll work on the acquisition agreement with Davis Weber as well and bring that back before you before we start any of the construction. But there is deadlines on this to have it allocated and then encumbered with the ARPA funds by the end of the year. So we would, if this is approved, we'll take this and get the contract signed with the contractor to extend the contract for these additional meters. Is there any questions I can answer for you?
Any questions?
Yeah, just to, maybe you could explain, Steve, this came about, the metering of secondary systems because of a state mandate a couple of years ago.
Yeah, in 2022, there was a state mandate that all secondary meter connections be metered. And so they put up some of these ARPA funds to do that. There was a first initial tranche of money that was allocated to quite a few systems. The state came back and backed off some of those requirements in some of the more remote areas. And so it opened up about $25 million more in funding that then was reallocated to some of the cities and some of the systems that needed additional funds to help with this. So it is a requirement by 2030 that all of these are metered. The amount percentage-wise that these grants will cover actually drops substantially after this year because the ARPA money is no longer available. And so we feel like this is a really good opportunity to allow us to get it done for basically 35% of what we would have had to come up out of our pockets. So.
Well, I have to commend you on going after these funding because, I mean, that's what's there, but a lot of folks don't realize it. But you guys have been very good about staying on top of it. And the more grants we can receive, the less our citizens have to help pay for all this. So thank you very much for that. Council, do you have any other comments on it or questions? Okay. Oh, Tyson?
I'd also say thanks on behalf of Weber Davis and Weber. I know they're not here, but they have a big, a high number of connections that they have to do this to. Me being one of them. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, that's it then. We'll go on to our third item, which is an approve of a land lease agreement, and our city attorney, Mr. Clint Drake, will present that item.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an agreement for us, an extension of agreement or a renewal of an agreement for an existing cell tower at 2701 Church Street, which is the fire station there up by the neighborhood Walmart. Our legal staff has been working towards streamlining some of our more common agreements. So this is one of them. We wanted to use the same agreement for each lease. So every time we're getting a renewal or a new request, we're updating with this new agreement. It's mostly the same as what we've had before, but we just made some little tweaks and changes. So moving forward, you'll see the same agreement. This is for a lease of about 204 square feet for a cell tower that's operated by T-Mobile. Some of the key terms that the council might be interested in is that it will be at a rate of $24,000 per year or $2,000 a month. So provides a nice little revenue stream for the city. It also includes an escalator clause, which will increase it by 3% each year as it goes forward. The term of the agreement will be for 5 years, but there's an opportunity for them to do 4 5-year extensions. That's a little bit longer than what we like to do for lease agreements, but I've had a lot of conversations with people in the telecommunications industry through my career, and they really need this type and length of agreements to provide stability to their customers and those who they serve. Works out better for them to be able to provide better services for our residents. The term will begin in 2026. We're just getting an early start on it so that they like to have that confirmation of stability so that they can continue to operate and provide services. With that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you very much. Seeing that there's none, that concludes all of our consent items that are presented. So council will bring it back to you for action.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve consent item A, final plat for Anderson's Legacy subdivision, consent item B, which is resolution 24-33 for the secondary meter grant agreement award, and item C, resolution 24-32 for the land lease agreement with the cell tower.
Okay, it's been moved in second that we accept the consent items as stated. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. That pretty much concludes our agenda for this evening. So, council, I'll bring it back to you to make a motion to adjourn this meeting and go back into a special closed door meeting.
I move we adjourn the meeting. You want to go back into a closed door meeting?
Okay. Second. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight to our meeting. And as Mr. Howland said earlier, I hope you all have a very happy Thanksgiving and enjoy a lot of time with your families. And be safe. Thank you.